Hello everybody, this is MEKİYE and now I am going to present you chapter 4 standardized testing. So let's start with what is standardized testing? It's a testing method which we use at schools, universities, business and even governments. And we have used this test method for nearly 100 years to evaluate people's skills and knowledge. For example, we all took YKS exam for entering the university, and it is an example for standardized testing. So these tests are meant to be economical. So it means saving money. It shouldn't be pricey, reliable. So it needs consistent results and valid. Measure what they are supposed to measure, not more than that. So there is an important point here. The test is same for everyone. So anybody take this test will see the same questions and same scoring. The test is same for everyone. So of course there's some problems with standardized testing. The most important problem is it doesn't meet needs of all types of intelligence. It's just a narrow range of skills. So it can give a false sense of accuracy and unfairly leave some people behind because there is more than one intelligence type. So they don't always measure everything accurately. So now let's look at what does standardization mean. It means it has, fixed rules like same objectives and same scoring methods for each people who take it. So it based on research and it needs to compare students and place them on a ranking scale. Like YKS, there was a comparing. Okay, now let's look at common misconceptions. And not all standardized tests are multiple choice. Tests can also measure skills like speaking and writing. So, uh, human score tests also involve standards. There is some examples like test of spoken English and test of written English. These two exams, these two testing types is standardized testing, but they're not multiple choice. One of them is for writing, one of them is for speaking. So we cannot say that standardized testing is multiple choice testing. Okay, now let's look at advantages of standardized tests. It's ready-made. What does it mean? It's saving our time. It's saving teachers' time. You just find the test and you can hand out them for your students. You can just find it and you can just use it. So they can be given to large groups of students quickly. Let's remember again YKS and like 3 million people uh, took the test at the same time. So it's usable for large groups. Scoring can be fast because it's generally automatically scored and for multiple choice. They often look very official. What does it mean? Face validity. At first glance, you see you see the test and you can say yes, it's a valid test, but you cannot see the problems, um, small problems at first glance. This is face validity. Now, it means that there is no content validity in standardized tests. They involve face validity. Let's look at the second part. Indirect tests might be easier to administer and grade, which is important, but they don't always give a full picture of someone's true ability. Firstly, let's look at what it's what does indirect test means. So indirect tests measure a skill without actual testing it directly, like TOEFL, or we can say again YKS. There is no one skill. There is reading, grammar, vocabulary, close tests, uh, more than one skill. But with direct tests, we only measure a skill. For example, writing tests. We just test writing. For example, speaking tests. We only focus on speaking, or we only focus on listening, and like this. And again, disadvantage of standardized tests. It cannot assess all learners equally well. What does it mean? Let's look at an example firstly. And there is a driver license renewal test in USA. So when you want to renew your driver license, you just take a test, and if you get a grade enough to pass the test, you renew your uh, driver license. But researchers say that 20% of uh, the people who got um, good grades enough to pass the test are really bad drivers. So we can see that it cannot assess all learners equally well. And there is two terms, and they are high stakes testing and gatekeepers. High stakes testing is standardized tests are used for very important decisions, like entering an university, or getting a job. They are really important decisions. And gatekeepers means uh, they are so powerful, irresistible. They control who gets in and who is left out. They choose who gets in and who is left out. Okay, now we are going to see some examples of some standardized tests. Firstly, TOEFL. TOEFL measures general English proficiency whose mother language is not English, and it's used by universities to decide if international students meet English requirements. And there's ESLPT, English as a Second Language Placement Test, and it's used at San Francisco State University to determine students' English levels. And graduate essay test. So let's okay. Now we are going to see steps to develop a standardized test, and then we are going to look at the examples closely. Okay, firstly, we should define the purpose and objectives. Every standardized test must have a clear goal, and it should be practical. So what is practical? It means easy to administer and score, but still valid. For example, there is an example again. TOEFL evaluates the English proficiency of people whose native language is not English. So there is a clear goal. And secondly, design test specifications. So we should decide what the test should measure, like which skills, which knowledge, which abilities. We should decide this specification, and we should define the format of the test. Is it multiple choice, or are they going to write an essay, or is it an oral exam? And we should set rules for time limits and question types and difficulty levels. For example, is this test hard for A2 level of English, or is it hard for B1 level of English? Okay, and next is design, select, and arrange test items. So, create or select appropriate test questions, arrange questions logically. It must be easy to difficult. It's really important point. We shouldn't start with difficult questions when preparing our tests. And ensure a balance between different question types. So there should be more than one question type. Okay. Next one is evaluate test questions. Check if the questions measure the intended skill. For example, if I prepare a test that will measure vocabulary knowledge, I should check if it really measures vocabulary knowledge of students and ensure clarity. We should avoid confusing or misleading wording. Uh, Again, the questions must be clear, and define scoring procedures and report formats. It means deciding how answers will be graded. Is it automatical or human scoring? And we should define passing scores and grade scales, and we should tell the students passing score. For example, if you get 50 from this exam, you will pass the course. And next one is ensure validity and reliability. We should check if the best is the test accurately measures what it claims to measure. It called validity, and we should make sure test results are consistent and fair for all test takers. And this is reliability. And we can conduct pilot testing. Yeah, we should test the test before using it officially. Now we are going to look at the steps with a close glance, and we will see some examples from all around the world. Okay, again, step one, objectives and purpose. Uh, for example, ESLPT, let's look at this one. English as a second language placement test. We can see its purpose, it's really clear, and places admitted students at San Francisco State University into appropriate academic writing courses. And we can also see the secondary goal, and we can see additional benefits. It provides diagnostic insights for teachers in the first days of class. Now let's look at GET, Graduate Essay Test. We can see target audience. Graduate students is audience here. We can see purpose. Evaluation evaluates whether students can handle graduate level writing. We can see timing. It's administered at the start of each term, and each test has clear objective and specific content to meet these goals. We saw it here, and their consequential validity ensures accurate evaluation. Okay, this is step 2, designing test specification. Why is it important? It's important because before defining that test specification, research must be done to identify key skills and competencies. And poorly designed standardized tests often result from weak construct validation. Okay, there is an example. TOEFL, test for English as a foreign language. Again, we can see large scale development here and construct definition here. And before 1996, only listening, structure, and reading all multiple choice. After 1996, writing section was added, improved validity but increased administrative costs. So it began to be more pricey, but it improved validity. So every standardized test must clearly define the skills it measures, and updating test design over time is essential for maintaining validity. Okay, now let's look at step 4, evaluating different types of test items. Why is this step important? Because a standardized test must be consistent, fair, and reliable every time it's administered. So different evaluation methods ensure that test items work as intended and accurately measure language ability. So let's look at TOEFL and ESLPT. Uh, uh, for TOEFL, we have multiple choice and essay section. Item facility, item discrimination, distractor analysis are used to ensure multiple choice items function properly, and the essay section undergoes extra scrutiny, like two human scores review each essay. If their scores differ by more than 1 point, a third scorer is brought in, increasing costs for etc. So it starts to be more pricey. And for ESLPT, written responses and open-ended questions. So evaluation is more subjective, requiring score judgments, and student scorer feedback helps improve prompts and passages. During test development, formal surveys and interviews are conducted to refine the test. So we can say multiple choice tests rely on statistical analysis for fairness and effectiveness, and essay-based tests need human evaluation, of course, to ensure reliability and accuracy. And feedback data analyses are crucial for improving test quality over time. So feedbacks are crucial for improving these tests. Okay, now the next step is scoring reporting test results. Why is this step important? Scoring step is really crucial because there should be fairness. A well-structured test should be scored fairly, of course, and reported efficiently to test takers and institutions. The scoring system must align with the test design and difficulty level to ensure validity. Let's look at the example TOEFL. It has a straightforward scoring system despite its complex design and validation process. So there is three section scores are calculated. Firstly, listening, uh, secondly, structured written expressions, and as third, reading. So there is you can see total score ranges, and we can say that TOEFL scores are standardized and provide detailed feedback. Scores help institutions make decisions about English proficiency for admissions, and the essay section is assessed separately, ensuring a well-rounded evaluation. So there is a human scoring on essay section. Okay, step 3 is designing, selecting, and arranging test tasks and items. Okay, why is this step important? Because once test specifications are set, the process of creating and organizing test items begins, and we should make sure that the test covers a range of skills fairly and systematically. Let's look at our example, TOEFL test item design. Firstly, there is content coding. It ensures a mix of skills like main idea comprehension, inference, and subject variety to prevent bias. And statistical coding, reading section, and pretesting validation. And we can say each question is carefully designed to evaluate different aspects of language proficiency. So, what does it mean? It means that we should test uh, more than one skill, and it should be really clear and I think specific. And again, ensuring fairness and accuracy is crucial in standardized test design. And step 6 is ongoing construct validation studies. It generally means review validation. So no test should be used indefinitely without revalidation to ensure it remains effective or not. Ongoing validation checks whether the test measures what it is supposed to measure and if it needs improvements over time because over time our tests may be invalid. So we should check them before use them. Okay, for example, TOEFL has a strong research program for continuous validation. For example, numerous research studies published over the years and addition of writing and oral production sections. These improvements have helped strengthen the construct validity of the test. So, periodic validation ensures the test stays accurate and relevant. So periodic validation is crucial. Research programs help refine the test to improve its effectiveness over time, and adding more components like writing and speaking has enhanced TOEFL's accuracy. So finally, we can say improvements on construct validation over time is really important. Okay, lastly, creating a valid standardized test is a complex achievement because it has so many steps and the specification process requires construct validation and careful attention to practicality because practicality is really important for us. Thank you for listening to me.